We were pretty famous back in high school. Trust us!
Had a whole future ahead of us, but now we suck.
All that potential now is flowing in the aqueducts.
Through the sands of time, many did forget.
But now our time has come to resurrect. But a podcast?
Sad I know, but can you blame us?
We are desperate to be much more than high school famous.
Yes. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Sean.
We are here, and this is our podcast. Today is the last day of April.
For us, yes.
Correct. Well, it's the last day of April for everyone.
Well,
today.
Yeah.
I know. Not based on when they're listening to it, but when we're recording.
Right.
So in that vein, I will say to everyone, welcome to High School Famous, the podcast that's been grandfathered into your grandmother.
It sounds wrong, but it doesn't make sense at the same time.
It sounds dirty,
Yeah.
but it doesn't actually mean anything.
Right.
But yeah, if it sounds dirty, that's because you made it that way, listeners.
Yeah.
So obviously the first thing that came to your mind was something.
It just
bit
sounds
naughty.
but nothing specific. Like it just sounded dirty without like putting any actual imagery or thoughts into my head other than just it sounds dirty.
It does.
Yeah, like nothing specific came to mind. And still, like, even now trying to come up with something in my head, it still doesn't really, nothing's really firing.
Yeah. I mean, we're all familiar.
I'm brain dead.
I think we're all familiar with the term being grandfathered in.
Yes.
So that by its own nature is not dirty or suggestive. It just means that you are allowed to have something that maybe doesn't exist anymore because of how long you've been, I don't know.
Unless it's like you were like a member of this orgy that actually has a age restriction, but they allow you to stick around after you've met or you've gone past the age restriction.
Okay.
Just because you've been a part of it for so long, or like maybe you're like a founding member. So then you're still grandfathered into the orgy.
Maybe you're not allowed. Well, that wouldn't make any sense. I was going to say maybe you're not allowed to join if you're a grandfather, but if you were joined before you became a grandfather and then became a grandfather, you're allowed to remain in the club.
So you're making the actual like being a grandfather as part of it now?
Yeah.
Because that has nothing to do with being grandfathered into something.
I know, maybe not, but maybe that's where maybe that has something to do with its origins.
This particular orgy says no grandfathers. You can be a father, or you can be a son. You just can't be a grandfather, and they have no stipulations against grandmothers.
Right,
just grandfathers.
But let's say the orgy is underway. It's mid orgy, right?
That's the best time to join.
You're a male that has a child or children.
Mm-hmm.
During the orgy,
who are also there.
No. They're at the hospital because during the orgy they have a child of their own.
Oh shit!
And you became a grandfather during the orgy.
Oh, that's
so you
so
are
then you're grandfathered in. So as long as you're present at the orgy when you become a grandfather, you can stay.
Right. But the next orgy, you're not allowed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you continue after that? So that's the only sense of being you're grandfathered in for tonight.
Right.
But once this orgy stops, so in your best interest, you need to try to make sure this orgy never ends. If you want to continue to be part of this group of orgy people.
Yeah, if you're really locked into this orgy or this group involved, like you need to do whatever it takes to make sure there is no end.
Mm-hmm.
And, I guess with the more people involved, the easier that will be, I think, because maybe people come and go. Maybe people arrive and leave.
Yeah, that's better. That's a better way to put it.
So it could be this sort of like ever evolving party.
As long as the rule at the orgy is once you finish, you're done.
Yeah.
For the night. So then he just has to make sure he never finishes.
Yeah, I guess that's fun to a point.
So that's fun to a point?
Right? Like at some point you're like, this isn't worth it unless I finish.
I mean, I guess it depends on what your like what's sexually pleasurable for you in that situation? Like, is it more gratifying for you to see and give other people pleasure, or is it more gratifying to just get yours and be out?
Well, so, I mean, let's say you get a lot of joy out of making sure others are satisfied and seeing others be satisfied. If that's what gets you going, just prolonged periods of accomplishing that will get you ready to like be done. And you're like, but if you never get to be done, there has to be a point where it's like, okay, the fun's kind of wore off because what I should be getting out of this in the end, I'm not going to get it just for the sake of it not ending. I don't, I guess it wouldn't be, it would wear off. You would eventually just go, I'm sure, I'm done.
Yeah.
This is
like, I've been at this for 2 years.
Yeah.
I've lost my house and my family. Am I technically still a grandfather?
Yeah, maybe you're okay.
What if the baby dies during childbirth?
What if you murder your grandchild?
Yeah, are you still a grandfather?
Well, I mean, yeah, you technically are.
Well, what if the baby, like I said, what if it dies during childbirth? Are you still are you still technically a grandfather? This took a dark turn off the orgy.
It did. I think you have to be able to give your first card with $5 in it to the child in order to be an official grandfather.
When does that happen, though?
Usually their first, be it a Easter, be it Christmas, be it their first birthday.
So if the kid never makes it to their first holiday or celebration of them, you're not a grandfather.
You're not officially a grandfather yet.
Interesting.
So that stipulation kind of negates what we just we're just talking about, where like you're in the middle of the orgy and you become a grandfather.
Right.
Because if by those rules, you would be able to remain attending the orgies until you were tasked with giving that child their first like holiday card or greeting card.
Yeah, then it turns into like a Logan's Run situation. I don't think that's a reference you understand.
Not really, but that's something about you're only supposed to live to a certain age, and then there's people that will make sure you don't.
But it's like as you're nearing the point when you're supposed to be quote unquote reborn, as they're told, then then they run to try to save themselves, kind of thing. So yeah, you have a finite. It's the only way that reference slightly works is just the finite amount of time between. Like when you when your little thing is telling you like, oh, it's time that you go to the renewal ceremony, and when it actually happens, and then you have that choice of,
or when you're
finishing out your life or running for it,
or when your little thing is telling you it's time to go to the orgy.
Yeah. My little thing is constantly telling me that. It's like a compass. It's just pointing in the direction of the orgy at all times.
Wow. So is that like?
I mean, that's not how compasses work, but it's
no, it's not. But
it's like it works like a compass if the orgy has a magnetic pull that my penis is attracted to.
Is it like a dowling rod?
Yeah, that's where all the it points towards the wetness.
Sometimes reliably, sometimes not.
Always.
I think it's a gimmick.
Reliably.
Yeah. I think it's a gimmick. I don't know.
I have never once walked towards a mirage in a desert. It's always been an oasis.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Weird.
So they call me Oasis Bound Matt every time. I know how to find the water.
That's an odd nickname.
It's a long nickname.
Yeah, Oasis Bound Matt.
And it doesn't roll off the tongue.
No, not at all. Shorter still than your actual name, but for a nickname.
OB Matt.
Maybe that's it. Out of bounds, Matt.
OB Matt Kenobi. They call me.
That's where they got the idea for that character's name, I think, in Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
OB Matt Kenobi.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
That could be my new nickname.
Yeah, it could be. It
rhymes.
You would have to.
It rhymes, and it has nothing to do with my name being there at all, because it already did.
Yeah, you could insert any name into that.
Yeah.
Like you could say Obi-Sean Kenobi.
Oh, no, we couldn't say that.
Which is closer to Obi-Wan Kenobi than what yours is.
It is, but I hate it.
Why? Because
it's not me.
Because there's no Matt in there.
Because it works better, and I thought of my name first, and now I'm jealous.
Gotcha.
That's why.
Yeah. So is there going to be some kind of lightsaber joke showing up at some point with this too? Because I mean, it's pretty.
There wasn't, but we'll get there.
I mean, we're already talking about deserts, Tatooine. You know, it's all there.
Yeah, it's all there. All the pieces are coming together here.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's what you want in an orgy.
Oh, but as soon as I get a Padawan, I can't go to the orgy anymore.
Well, that doesn't make you a grandfather.
It does if it's my Padawan.
How's that?
My Padawan's Padawan?
Oh, see, now you're talking, a two-tier Padawan learning system.
Yeah.
Sexy.
No, that's insexy. Incesty?
Hopefully not.
I tried it. It didn't work, but that's fine. We can move on.
All right. Well, it's speaking of dad jokes. Oh, hey, here's a good working from home joke. Ready
for all you working from homes?
Yeah.
People.
So here we go. This is my boss always used to laugh at my jokes in the office, but stopped laughing now that we're on video calls. She says my jokes aren't remotely funny.
It's awful.
Yeah, it was a tough week to pick a joke because they were all pretty awful.
Well, I feel like it's a tough week every week, but it feels like by the time you have to get around to picking one again, you forgot how tough it was the week before.
There have been weeks where it's like, oh, that's the obvious standout.
Okay.
This one's I can't think of a thing. It's got it clinched.
Is it bad that joke was so terrible that I already forgot it?
No.
Okay, because I literally I'm like in my head now just trying to go like, what was the joke even? I honestly don't even remember it.
Well, that's fine. You can
My brain was also probably a little preoccupied there for a second.
Yeah, a little bit. If you really care to hear it, you can listen back to it later. I'm not going to subject the listeners to a second reading of it. No.
I didn't want you to reread it. It was just more so making a point that I really don't remember it already. No, I'll listen back at it in a couple months probably.
Yeah.
That's when I usually do my spastic listen throughs again.
I do it as they come.
Yeah. Well, because for you, it's always like as soon as we're done recording, that's the last you remember.
Yeah, I don't.
So then when it posts out, you can listen to it, and at least you've had a couple days away from it. Whereas I edit it, so I'm hearing a bunch of it right away again, and I'm just like I distance myself from the whole thing. I usually I used to do it like right away, and then eventually like I would get busy at work or whatever, so I just wouldn't listen for a while. So then all of a sudden I'd have like a ton of episodes. So like this last week I decided to start listening back to old episodes again because this is 128. I was on 113.
Okay.
So I'm like
15 back. Yeah.
I had 15 episodes to sit and listen to. I'm only up to 119 now, and that's even listening to them at 2 times speed.
Wow, way to make it sound like an enjoyable experience.
Well, no,
it's not.
It isn't. Well, it isn't. It isn't at the same time because it's like it's enjoyable to go back and hear some of the shit we talked about, but then it's also like I'm just listening to myself, so it's just like how much enjoyment am I getting out of it?
Right.
But I also like to listen to it at faster speed because I basically as we start talking about stuff, I kind of start remembering it. So it's not like I have to be like hyper focused into what we're saying because I can still get the gist of what we're talking about most of the time. Plus, it's just a tactic to catch up quicker. But
of course,
we're just as funny at 2 times speed as we are at regular speed.
I would hope we would sound a little funnier. Just the sped up
because it's quicker.
The pace is quicker and it makes us sound snappier, but also just listening to people speak at that rate is just naturally funny.
Slightly not the pitch doesn't really change, which is amazing. Because normally back in the day, if you speed anything up, it's faster. But the technology these days, whew.
Oh, it's so smart, useful. I'm glad someone figured that out. Well, so Matt, what's going on?
Not much. It's been pretty normal week for me, I guess.
Oh,
work wasn't too crazy. We had a guy retire this week. He'd been with the company for I believe just under 40 years that he'd been with the company. So he retired. So now we're, playing the game of figuring out what to do with his role because we didn't fill it. So lots of people are getting chunks of his job that they have to start doing now. And I am one of those people.
I knew it.
That will now have a little bit more on my plate, which I was kind of expecting that some of his stuff would kind of fall on me, because leading up to it, there was some things that I kind of would go to him for that I started kind of already taking over and being able to do, which in the end just kind of made sense for me to be doing those things, because it was kind of a waste of my time to keep going to him to have him do it, which is basically like fixing inventory discrepancies and things, which I can it's just easier if I do it myself. Then it's like, oh, this part is off by however many. Let me go to him, have him make the adjustment, and then I can do what I need to do after that. Instead, it's just like, oh, that's wrong. Bloop. I can just fix it within 30 seconds on the system side, and everything's clean.
But
so
these,
it made sense that I start doing that.
Are these still going to be at the like whenever someone notices one, they bring it to you and you fix it, or is it like you need to now seek out and find?
Oh no, yeah, it's
as they're discovered,
as they're discovered. Yeah, like I'll sometimes probably do it if I know we're running low on something and I'm about to like do some orders that are going to call for that part. If I know we're running low, I'll go out before I print the orders and I'll go check the part to see if it's accurate or not. Yeah. And then I can make adjustments up or down prior to that, just to not waste the time of like, okay, I'm going to print the order. They go to make the order. Oops, we're short. Okay, now I got to cancel the order, adjust it out, and then reprint the order for the adjusted quantity, all that. So, and that, since that's already kind of part of my role as far as like getting orders out, it makes sense then that I kind of have that role to be able to do that kind of stuff. So,
right.
So yeah, that happened. I guess he's not fully gone. He's still going to kind of do some stuff from home here and there, but very infrequently.
Like fix inventory discrepancies?
Not so much that, as much as like helping. He's going to go through and do some adjustments to like mins and maxes of product that we order, and make some adjustments to that stuff, because it's something that he was supposed to be working on, but just never really had the time because he kept getting pulled away to do other things.
Sure.
So now he won't get distracted by other people. He can just sit and actually plow through that stuff. But yeah, other than that, the week was pretty normal. Next week's gonna suck because I have a classroom thing I have to do to be like certified. Basically, you get certified to do the work that I've been doing for the last 7 years. So I have to spend 5 days in a conference room for 4 hours a day, all this week, from 10 to 2, sitting there and just being in a classroom, just learning. And then I have to take a test. And then if I don't pass the test, I have to do it all over again.
Uh-huh.
And then I have to do a second class training in like June, I think.
I mean, that's like vacation. Like
no, it's not vacation. I have to pay attention and learn. It's not like I'm just getting to like not do anything.
You said this is stuff you're already doing, so you shouldn't even have to.
Yeah, it is, but there's gonna be aspects of it that I don't have to focus on in my daily work that I'll have to know and learn through this. So
yeah,
you look very bored.
I thought I would just like slouch and bring my mic down.
If this is like the one time I've ever come to the thing and actually like said something about what's been going on in my life, and you're the most disinterested you've ever been.
No. So I watched a bit of a podcast that was on YouTube today, and they're just, sitting back on couches and stuff, and it looked very relaxed, not so like propped up and at our desks and like we are.
Well,
and I'm like, maybe
it's a very different environment.
Maybe like I should just be like more casual, and
so that changes the tone of your voice and the cadence of your speech.
Yeah, it does, because like I'm not. It's like I'm more chill about everything, and it's gonna probably sound more natural.
No, that's not natural. That is a voice that you're putting on.
But this is, how do you know? You've only heard my like uppity, like stick up my butt, let's do a good show voice. And this is like,
I've known you for.
This is when I'm just chilling out
I've known you for
Not-
27 years.
I'm not caring about
if the stick up your butt voice is what I'm used to, that means that's your natural voice.
but this is me with the stick removed and from my butt, and so I'm.
Well, put it back in because I like him better.
You really mean you don't like this, like chilled out?
You look
No
like you have
press.
no bones.
No press. I don't care about putting on.
For
I just
one,
wanna
yeah.
talk.
Shove the stick back in because you're shortening words that don't need to be shortened, like saying "presh."
No, I also shortened the word "no." I don't know if you noticed that.
Would you just go "nah"?
I just said the word "no." Nope. Yeah.
How
so,
do you shorten "no"?
just the letter N, I guess. Presh.
Or "oh"? Who does the second half of a word when they're shortening?
Oh, presh. All right, well, here we are, back to my natural
Yeah.
voice of talking like a
Oh my
normal
God,
person.
you have to stop.
And the stick is way up there now, and we're
yeah.
going to put on a good show, and I'm all prompt, and I'm at
Well, you put the stick too far up, so pull the stick slightly back.
So, yeah, cool week.
There you go.
Cool week you've had.
No, I mean it was a fairly normal week otherwise.
Yeah, you said that already.
Nothing super crazy. Yeah.
Yep. I
Well,
already said that.
sorry for reiterating. You know what that means? Because I was like,
hey, this is how I am when I got a stick up my ass and I'm not relaxed. When
I
there's,
know
this is how I am when there's press.
You're a piece of shit.
This is how I am when there's
not
press. And
used
you
to.
asked for it. You asked for this.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Yeah. Oh.
I was summarizing, Sean. I was summarizing what I said because that means I'm a good listener to myself.
To yourself.
I need that.
You need that. You need to. You need that reassurance.
Yeah.
Because
And
you
I also,
do you often think of yourself as a poor listener?
oh yes, I'm an awful listener because I definitely, I'm not diagnosed at all, but I'm pretty certain I have ADHD, and if I'm like, I hyper focus really, really bad. So if I'm watching something or I'm like doing something and somebody asks me a question, I have no clue they even fucking talk to me. They could be 2 feet away and I have no clue. I'm a horrible listener.
Could they be like 3 feet away, slouched in their chair with the microphone
I
lowered?
prefer not.
Oh,
And you're not 3 feet away.
I was hoping you'd say yes.
Yeah, so I pay great attention to that. Shit. What was I gonna say? I don't remember. Doesn't matter.
Your week was normal, except for that thing.
No, I do that like even if me and you are having a conversation, if anything pulls my attention away for a second, I'm gone. That's why I don't remember the joke you said earlier, because my mind went somewhere else for a second and it just left.
Out of necessity, though. It wasn't the joke's fault. Your mind went elsewhere out of necessity.
It's sort of. I mean, I guess it wasn't
80-20?
It wasn't
70-30?
super. It wasn't super necessary that I took care of or I did what I did, but it'll be very helpful.
Well, it'll be helpful in the end.
Yes.
The end that got grandfathered in, or the end that was the end that was something was grandfathered into.
Sure.
Matt, a while ago you brought up. I guess my week. It was just Friday I went to see my son perform with his class "Smoke on the Water" by, I forget who sings that.
You did not complete a sentence and then started a second one.
Maybe that's how you heard it, but maybe anyway.
You said my son. You went to see your son perform with his class
with his
class on the water.
Right. Which is a sentence.
Okay, it sounded like you were going to say with his like class choir or class band or something like that.
The kids in the kids in the
choir thing, or was it a band thing, or was it what was it?
It was band.
Okay.
Their music class. Had to perform.
That helps with the context. Is all I'm saying. Otherwise, I'm trying to imagine what other way they are performing "Smoke on the Water." Like
interpretive dance, of course.
Yeah, interpretive dance. Is it like an a cappella thing? Is it?
No, it was band. So you had a kid on drums, you had a girl on trombone, and you had a
classic trombone "Smoke on the Water."
Yeah,
solo.
There was a couple of kids, Leo being one of them. A couple of kids with trumpets. I forgot what other instruments there were. I was only focusing on my son and his trumpet tearing.
Selfish.
Well, yeah, it'd be weird if I was like filming just close up on the other kids and not him.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which one's your kid? Oh, he's the one over there, and you're
he's
just focused.
he's the one off screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can hear him, I think. I wasn't paying attention. I was focused on the trombonist. I was
Yeah.
focused on the tromboner over there.
That is probably how you would say it.
Trombonist, probably.
I suppose.
You'd say like violinist, guitarist. Well, although you say drummer, you say bassist. I wonder why you don't say drummist.
Because it sounds weird.
Cellist, violinist, piccoloist, I'm sure.
Tubaist?
Tubist?
Tuba-er?
Tubaman. I'm a tuba player. Maybe it's just tuba player. I don't
It's
know.
probably just tuba player at that point.
Yeah. What if they did that for everything? I'm the drum player of the band.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, Carl. What do you do? I'm the bass player. Well, that's a little more normal.
Yeah.
That's not as strange. I suppose
Bass
drum player.
guitar player.
I'm the voice player. I play the vocal words. Yeah. So that
Flautist.
happened.
Go ahead.
The flout. That happened, and then that night he and I went to see Return of the Jedi in the theater. It was the 40th anniversary of that movie. So that rounds out me finally seeing all three of the original trilogy in some sort of theater-esque setting, with Empire Strikes Back being seen at the drive-in. So you could count that as a theater or not. I'm not sure.
I mean, yeah, you still went to go see it at a...
Yeah. It's on a big screen. Granted, the
It was
audio is
projected.
played through your car speakers and not like theater sound, whatever. But man, the big what do you think of when you think of Return of the Jedi? Like, what's the first chunk that like pops in your head?
Probably like the Rancor sequence, the Rancor fight.
Okay.
It's one of the first big things that happens in the movie.
I think people think of that. People obviously think of the Ewoks and that whole time on
Princess
on
Leia's
Endor.
bikini.
Yep. There's that part, but there's really, there's a lot that happens.
Sarlacc pit.
That whole so the Leia thing, and the Rancor and the Sarlacc pit. That's all at the beginning.
First act,
right? I kind of clocked it. You don't see an Ewok until I want to say like an hour in to the movie,
and then it's all Ewok, pretty much. After that.
There's a lot of it, but you got
Ewok forward after that.
A lot of it, but again, you've got the closing moments where you got Luke confronting Vader and then the Emperor and all that stuff. So there's no Ewoks to be seen in that part,
right?
But yeah, it was fun.
Was this the? I'm assuming this is still the added additional footage versions.
Yeah. So
because I think the other versions kind of don't exist anymore, or
I think they're locked up. If you have them on VHS already, then you got them locked in. But I don't think you can. I don't think there's any way you can't purchase the movies new or stream them.
No,
now and see the actual original.
What's weird
version.
is like a few years ago when Disney had kind of purchased all that stuff, there was talks that they were going to possibly re-release the originals.
Really?
And if they did that, people would go crazy for them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like, I don't hate everything that was added in to the movies. Like, some of it made sense. Some of it worked. Well,
some of it was just cool background
some of it was,
stuff.
Yeah.
Like
putting extra stuff going on in some of the towns to make them seem a little bit more bustling than they were and stuff like that. And like adding those extra shots of like the cities all cheering at the end and things like that.
Yeah.
That stuff kind of worked. There was other things that were just 100% unnecessary, like changing the whole musical sequence in, I believe it was in Return.
Yeah, it was in Jabba's palace. They had those two characters come out and mainly that one female quote unquote alien character was singing this song. And then that one like guy that makes me think of Animal was just like, Yeah. That was not necessary.
That sequence didn't need to be done at all. Yeah.
But I do like the same thing you're talking about where it's adding to just the stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah, just like, the environmental adding.
Yeah,
worked.
the first movie where they're some of the stormtroopers go down to search for that escape pod that C-3PO
Yeah.
and R2-D2. They have the other extra stormtroopers riding those beasts. I forget what they're called.
Yeah.
Just in the background, like part of the search. Those weren't there before. But what I don't like, just because of how bad it looks, is in A New Hope, that scene they added, the conversation between Jabba the Hutt and Han Solo.
Yeah.
Because Jabba the Hutt to me looked smaller than he does in Return, and the CGI just wasn't that great. And
no, it looks awful. It was, because have you seen the original scene of that?
No.
So the original scene because that was originally a scene they had shot.
Right.
But they didn't know who Jabba was.
acting.
Yeah. They didn't have Jabba conceptualized at the time. So it was just some dude that was playing Jabba the Hutt. And then then later they decided he was going to be this weird slug creature thing. So that's why they never used the scene. And then threw it in there like that. And it looked like crap.
Well, the thing it's off about it is for anyone who saw the original movies before because this was like the late 90s, early 2000s when they re-released them and added that extra stuff, right? It was like mid to late 90s.
Yeah, it was mid to late 90s, I think, because
I think I was in middle school.
It was before the
prequels.
The prequels came out, and the first prequel was 98, 99.
Oh, okay, so
somewhere in there.
Okay, maybe even early to mid 90s. Maybe they did one a year. I forget how they. Anyway,
yeah, I know they did them, and then they re-released them into the theaters because I went and watched them in the theaters.
Yeah,
when they re-released them.
I watched A New Hope then, but then
I did A New Hope, and that honestly also might have been the only one too for me, to be honest.
That's all I did, because the next time I don't know if I've told this on here or not, but it was so I don't know if you remember this, but there was a special day in part of the school year for people that had like good attendance and all that kind of stuff, and it was like this big activity day.
Okay.
And one year kids got to go to Valley Fair for the school day.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a couple of times it was where we got to go to the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So the one year where the whole thing was we got to go to the movies, I saw A New Hope in the theater because that's what was playing at the time. The next time I was going to go see Empire Strikes Back because that was re-released in the theaters at that time. But like Rick and Jamie and a bunch of other of that sort of friend group.
Yep.
We're like, no, we're going to go see Fools Rush In.
Nice.
You should come see that with us. I'm like, well, I want to go see Empire Strikes Back. They're like, no, come on, come see this with us. And so I went along and saw Fools Rush In with them, and it was awful. And
no regrets.
I never got to make it back to the theater to see Empire. And then for whatever reason, maybe just because I didn't see, I don't know what the reason was, if there was one, that I didn't make it into the theater to see Return of the Jedi either at that time. But so needless to say, what about 25 plus years later, I finally rounded out and
there you go
and see the third one.
Now you can die.
Oh, so anyway, the first time the world was introduced to Jabba the Hutt, he was this character that was loosely talked about, who was after Han Solo because he owed him money, right? And he was this evil, looming, ominous character that purchased Han Solo frozen in carbonite to hang on his wall. It's his greatest possession or whatever. But in the scene from The New Hope that they threw back in, they're like, "Oh, Solo, you're great," and I'm so they're all chummy.
Yeah,
and it doesn't seem he still owes him money at that time,
right?
But Jabba the Hutt is just very friendly toward him, like, "Oh."
And this is after he already killed Greedo, right? Is that before or after?
It was after, maybe like just after, because I think
it's just crazy because he's like, I sent this bounty hunter to get you that you now just killed, and now I'm here at my ship, and like we're cool.
Yeah, and weird. Why would he show up? There's no way Jabba would have heard by then already that Greedo got shot.
Right.
Why was he there at all? Because this was just before, because they met Han Solo to hire a pilot that had a ship to fly them to wherever they were trying to go, Alderaan or something. And so just the scene they put back in where he's talking to Jabba was just before they were flying away out of Tatooine, away from the cantina. So yeah, it would have been just after, because Greedo was shot earlier in that cantina. So it would have been maybe half an hour after Greedo got killed.
Yeah.
The whole scene.
I'd have to watch it again to figure it out, and I don't know if I can do that.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's where it is in the story. But yeah, it doesn't make the whole thing doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
They really didn't need to put that back in. Another thing I bumped into recently thinking about it was there's the whole part where they fly in to hide on that asteroid or whatever, and then they end up being inside like this giant worm thing.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't notice, like, what was the worm just sitting there at the top of the hole with his mouth wide open, and they just flew inside, and they didn't notice the teeth or anything when they flew into the monster.
Apparently not. It's
Because when
just
they fly,
that monster sleeps with its mouth open. Apparently,
when they fly out, you see like the mouth opening and closing with all these rows of teeth and stuff.
yeah.
None of this was visible when they flew in.
It was dark, probably that direction and going out towards space. It was bright.
See, possibly, but I could see. I mean, I could see a creature sleep, like just sitting there with his mouth open, hoping something flies in. I mean, how often does that thing come across anything living? I bet there's no way that thing could survive on that asteroid. How often does it come across food?
It's probably one of those things that doesn't have to eat very often.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine that eating that ship full of people would have been like a great thing for it to like digest and like survive off of.
No, I mean, the only nutrients
not a lot of nutrients.
Yeah, just in the living creatures. The ship provides nothing. So,
well, I mean, I guess we don't know the biology of that worm and what it needs to eat to survive. So,
yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, they didn't do enough backstory on that worm. There needs to be a new movie. A new Star Wars movie that's dedicated just to that worm.
Yeah. I mean, it's about, we're about there. I mean, we're kind of getting to the point where they're like, what other sort of C, D, E, F, G character can we make a whole show or movie around?
Yeah.
As fan service. Huh?
Yeah.
So, Matt, a while ago, I'm going to guess sometime in November or so, you had
crazy
brought
guess.
up, you had brought up a list of crazy inventions.
No, I sure didn't.
What happened? Did I do that?
You did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No way.
Yes.
Anyway,
it was you.
Regardless, someone thought it's interesting to go through a list of silly inventions. I guess it was me.
Someone. It was 100% you.
Weird. Well, I guess I've done it. I was going to say I saw your list and I raised you another, but I'm clearly just...
You forgot your list and did it again.
I'm repeating my old tricks. We've run out of things to talk about.
This isn't Matt brought up a bunch of slang. Let me also bring up a bunch of slang.
That was funny too.
This is I brought up some inventions. Let me bring up some inventions.
No, okay. Well, I brought more because the response was so strong. The response was so strong. It
was very memorable, apparently.
This has to come back. All right, so we're not going to get through all these because there are 38 of them. But, yeah, so this first one is called, I'm not sure if it's officially called Massage Me, but this is just the title above the little image.
Okay.
Designed to work with, so this looks like some sort of vest type of thing that straps onto somebody. And
I think I've seen this before.
So in the bottom right of it, there's like this more material continues, and it appears to be something that plugs into your PlayStation 1 console. So this was designed to work with a PS1 gamepad. The Massage Me, that is what it's called, was supposed to let couples enjoy gaming together. By playing the game, one partner would be massaging the other as he or she controls the modified game controller.
What?
So the way it looks to me is there are certain segments of this sort of vest thing on the back of the person wearing it that when pressed will act as buttons in the game. So the partner can simultaneously be massaging their partner's back and also playing a video game.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Correct. This clearly would not have been, I'm assuming, an official release by Sony. Like, it's not this is like a third party thing, but it just looks so. What we'll do is we'll put the link to this list in the show notes so that anyone can look at the images. Maybe some standouts. I can pull the images and we can post them also. But yeah, I had to read through this description a couple times before I really figured out what it was saying.
So this, I'm just imagining what kind of games would like if you're playing a game where you're just button mashing like crazy.
Right. You're
For
playing
one.
mini games on Mario Party.
Yeah. But also, like, what happens when somebody gets really pissed and tries to throw the controller?
Yeah. I mean, if you have that type of an issue where you're constantly throwing your controller away or at the TV or at the wall,
Yeah.
maybe investing in this is not a good idea. Aside from the other reasons that investing in this is not a good idea. This is another added.
I mean, if you're that type of person, you're probably not the kind of person who, when you put your hands on your significant other, it's to massage them.
Yeah, but if they're sticking
It's
around,
probably for other reasons.
If they're sticking around, they seem to be okay with it, or they're excusing this awful behavior.
Yeah, I mean, it's, some people
maybe
unfortunately get into an abusive relationship and have a hard time getting out of it.
Well, some people that might be what they're into. They like they have their own childhood issues that they aren't dealing with, and so they have just this they get a rise out of someone being slightly abusive to them. I'm sure that exists.
Yeah, it's sad.
And I keep trying, and I haven't found that person yet. But I keep trying
to be abusive to you or to take your abuse.
To take my abuse.
That would have been a good opportunity for you to just not answer the question and move on to the next one.
I should have done that. Yes.
Number 2.
All right. This is called the Fliz. Fliz. So one way to overcome the discomfort of a bike saddle and the unnatural motion of pedals is to add a harness to an overframe with wheels. Obvious.
What?
This is probably ideal for downhill speeds, and then you can just sort of run like a toddler when on level ground. How this isn't on every street yet is beyond us. So imagine 2 bike wheels.
Okay.
In the normal place you would expect bike wheels to be in relation to each other.
Yep.
But instead of the typical bike frame that connects those wheels and then pedals attached to a gear that is attached to has a chain attached to it, which is then propels the back wheel of the bike, you just have this sort of arch-shaped frame that would go over your back, and like a strap suspended from that straps around your abdomen.
Okay.
And then you as you're leaning forward underneath this harnessed frame, you're reaching out to some handlebars to steer. But you just run. You just like power it by walking or running on the ground with your feet.
Okay.
And then I guess once you get to enough speed where you can balance and coast for a while, you can lift your feet off the ground and just sort of hang from this suspended arched frame. It would alleviate you from that thing that discomfort we all hate by sitting on a bike seat for too long.
Yeah, but you get used to that. Like, I
know.
It's like, so I bike a lot, and the first couple rides of the year are a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But you get pretty used to it. Even in a long ride, like, it gets to the point where it just doesn't bother you anymore because you get used to it. But after so many rides, you just get used to it. It's the same as just any sort of repetition. You just get, your body adjusts to it, and it's not painful anymore. The thing is, like,
that's why
running is worse on your legs than biking, for one. And 2, on a bike, you can also just coast downhill without having to pedal.
You're running.
It's to take away the sitting on an uncomfortable seat thing, but
and the unnatural motion of pedaling. And let's be real,
not unnatural.
Bikes, you always have that risk of like the pedals moving and you catching your heel or the back of your ankle on one of those rigid bike pedals. You lose some skin.
Your foot off.
Yeah, to coast, exactly.
Well, you don't have to take your feet off to coast unless you have pedals that won't stop spinning unless you're doing.
If you do
fixed gear.
Some people like to ride and they coast and they'll stick their feet out. It's just fun. Stretch your leg. You can give your legs a stretch. Just stretch them out a little bit while you're coasting.
I can do that anyways because I can just have one leg straight and then I can switch the pedals to have the other leg straight for a little while.
Yeah, but you could do both legs at the same time.
Then I could stand up as I'm coasting and to stretch both my legs out at the same time.
It's not the same.
It's
Well, so if you let's say you just wake up, like you slept all night, you just wake up, you're still laying in bed, and you do that sort of like stretch while you're laying down. You just stretch your arms and your legs out and stick them out. You don't want something opposing, like on your feet, like resisting your stretch. That's the same thing as what you're describing, where you're standing up on the pedals to stretch. Like, that's stupid. It's stupid.
Sorry.
It's the behavior of someone who's brain dead. Like someone.
Well, I already said that earlier that I was brain dead.
So you're just not going to understand the benefits of these great inventions with your current state.
Probably not. I guess I'm going to stick to my old archaic bicycle.
This might be wasted on you. This whole list. The listeners will get it. This isn't all about you. This is for everybody.
I will continue to, not stretch my legs and bruise my taint. I'm sorry. That's just me.
You get used to it. And that's what I try to tell all these women that I'm trying to, suss out their
just call me OBT Kenobi.
OBT.
Old Bruce Taint Kenobi.
So what was the first OB for? I forgot already.
Same.
Was it out of bounds or was it something? No,
that's what you said. I don't remember what it even was anymore.
Anyway, yeah, you'll just come up with all these different ways to make an OB-based nickname for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, you mentioned some focus issues earlier. So this might, I'm not sure how this will work with you.
What?
But you mentioned focus issues. Like if if you get distracted by something, you can no longer focus at all on what you were focusing on before. It's like, you see a firefly flash by, and all of a sudden I've lost you. Yeah, like right now.
What?
It's like you're trying to find something to distract you now. You're like, what's around here that could distract me? And anyway, so I'm not sure how well this will work for you, because maybe multitasking is overall.
I'm actually not weirdly good at multitasking.
Okay, well, all right. Well, do you want to get even better?
Oh, yeah.
Anyone who really is out to get better at multitasking, you need to get yourself the nose stylus. And it's what you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Designer Dominic Wilcox came up with the nose stylus idea as a means to make multitasking even more effective. The weird thing is, the image they show is someone, like a man in like business casual attire, looking through what appears to be an atlas book, like a map book.
Okay.
So, but he's holding the phone with his other hand, and simultaneously he's got his thumb to the screen and the nose stylus to the screen. So I don't know what is he trying to do, like maybe the pinch to zoom with the thumb and the nose?
Maybe.
But I'm not sure how this made multitasking easier in this image, because he's not looking at all at the book he's holding.
Right.
He just had to look away to.
Yeah. So
he could have
problem with multitasking in humans in that sense is you can't look at two different things at the same time like that.
Yeah. We're not birds.
We're not like, birds are birds good at looking two different ways at the same time? I was going to say like a chameleon can turn its eyes and look two different directions.
Well, like birds, like, you can't sneak up on like a duck or whatever, because their eyes, like the birds like that, their eyes are on the sides of their head, so they can see pretty much all the way around themselves at all times.
Right.
So I guess by that nature, they'd have to be able to like focus on two different things at once, because their eyes can't. I don't know how well their eyes can actually like look straight forward at the same thing at the same time if it's directly in front of them.
Yeah, it's like, do they have a weird like little center blind spot?
They might, but they're definitely able to focus on two different things on either side of their head.
Yeah, I guess I've never noticed if a bird can move its eyes like kind of independently.
I don't know if they can do that, but you think they would be able to, because if it's really difficult for them to focus both their eyes on the same thing, then you think it wouldn't be very effective. There wouldn't be much use for them to move their eyes together, like they both look left or they both look right, because I would like to read up on that.
Well, make a note of it. We'll have a whole episode on it.
Bird vision.
A bird's eyes view.
A bird's eye view. How do you wrote bird vision?
That just sounds like a weird Marvel spinoff.
Have you heard of bird vision? To help bird vision, the city needs you.
I thought you were going to end at city.
Help Bird Vision the city. Bird Vision the city, or help Bird Vision the city.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got metal detector sandals. I mean, it's not crazy. People will walk around the beach with a separate device that detects the metal. So why not combine it with the footwear? It's just one less thing to carry. You have more ways to carry all the treasures you'll find if you have two free hands. I think this actually is not crazy. I mean, if you're someone who's a metal detector enthusiast, this kind of is a bit logical.
I wonder if they'd be like, would they have the same power as like a regular metal detector?
I don't know.
Because they'd have to have a power. They'd have to be hooked up to some sort of power source.
Well, are metal detectors as they currently are? They would have to be battery operated, right?
Yeah,
you're not plugging them into anything.
They have to be powered.
So this probably would.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of people. You don't see a lot of people out on the beach with extension cords.
Yeah,
running to their metal detectors.
Well, they've got it, hooked up to their jumper cables, and they got their car running the whole time while they're out there. So it's. But yeah, this must contain a smaller battery, I'm sure. So probably doesn't last as long as your standard metal detector.
Wear it around your belt or something in a fanny pack.
Well, this image has a cord running up from one of the sandals up to this little. It looks like just like a little a mic. What do they call it?
A lav mic pack.
Any kind of lav mic pack. Yeah. Hooked to just this little band that's around the person's like shin.
Yeah, because it'll have a little speaker or something on it so it can make the noise.
Yeah, there's also some lights at the top of it, probably to flash when it's detecting metal. But yeah, there you have it. Now, this is only wired to one of the sandals, so it must be only functional when in this case, the right sandal is detecting metal. The left sandal just
frustrating.
Doesn't seem to.
Yeah, how frustrating would it be if you missed something because you didn't step on it with your right foot?
Right. If all the treasures to your left and you happen to. Maybe you can switch it. Maybe you can unhook it from the right sandal and move it over to the left if you care.
And then so when you turn around, you walk back, and then you realize that was a mistake because now you just put the foot back on the same side that it already walked down.
I should have walked backwards on the way back. Yeah, I suppose this is it's still a ridiculous thing, but I get the idea. It's just to free up your hands.
Yeah, but then it seems like it's almost weirder that you just see somebody walking back and forth along the beach.
Well, but
then like if they had a metal detector in their hands, you're like, oh, they're looking for treasure. If it's just some person that looks like they're aimlessly walking back and forth down the beach, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, the metal detector is like, oh, that's what they're doing. But if you just see them, so what this says here is, who knows? Maybe they've already made someone really rich, or got them arrested for looking like they've escaped house arrest.
Oh, because it looks like they have a little thing around their ankle.
Yeah, it's higher up than their ankle, but it could be mistaken for one of those. I'm not sure what the official name is for those house arrest ankles bracelets. Ankle monitor? An ankle monitor.
Yep.
Yeah. Nailed it. This next one's called the Doryu 216 camera. This camera, well, Doryu is the company. This camera from Doryu, Doryu Camera Company, was created in 1954 as a police issue snapper that not only looked like a weapon, but actually made a loud noise like a gun. It looks like a handgun, like a pistol,
but it takes a picture.
But it's like you chop the front of the barrel off and you add this little sort of silvery metal looking sort of camera-like lensed apparatus to the front of the gun.
That just sounds like an awful idea.
And I'm sure you snap a photo by pulling the trigger.
Well, yeah.
That only makes sense. But yeah, the back of it straight up just looks like a gun. So I don't know why these were created as something for the police to use. Is it just so that they could carry a camera around in their gun holster?
That's such a bad idea. Like, what if you're in a situation where you need your gun and you accidentally
you reach
pull
for
out
the
your
wrong
camera?
thing? Yeah.
Yeah. And all you do then is at that point, you take a picture of the man who killed you.
Is it just...
Which I guess could be helpful.
Yeah, for anyone else who's trying to solve your murder. But, maybe it is to scare off criminals while simultaneously...
And just have a fake gun.
Well, but this also takes a picture of them for IDing purposes.
Right.
Like, let's say someone's trying to steal an old lady's purse on the sidewalk. And you're like, hey, freeze right there. This is the police with a very odd-looking gun. and then you pull the trigger. It makes a loud noise. They run off scared, but unbeknownst to them, you've got their image captured on film.
Yeah, and then you're giving CPR to the old lady that just got scared and had a heart attack from the loud noise your gun camera made.
Yeah, and hopefully you get yourself grandfathered in.
Jesus Christ.
This next one you might have heard of. Oh, should I read the whole thing? Ahead of the game on police camera filming on the job. Clearly, these are now really rare, and one sold at auction for $25,000 USD.
Ooh, well, there you go.
This one is a more modern one. It's in the era of smartphones.
It's called an app.
Well, it's called an inner selfie stick. It appears to be one of those.
Can I guess? Is it something you put inside you?
Yeah, I'm not sure if this was mainly designed. I guess you can't really put something without. Do you need to be put under to have something like put down your throat, like one of those little cameras?
No,
or can you
have to
do that? My gag reflex would not allow that.
Well, you got to work on that.
But the image, they show someone holding a phone with this wire coming out of the charging port, and it's running between their legs. So what we're to gain, or what we're to interpret this is they've got this little camera up their a-hole, and they're just looking. They're just looking at. I said, it's okay. You can say but.
You can say but.
But yeah, that's, and they even have what is being shown on the phone's screen.
What is this for? Who is this for? Why is this for?
I don't know.
I could see it like in the medical field,
exactly,
being like useful in a sense, but at the same time, they have actual medical devices made for that stuff.
Here's the
like
only.
I don't want to go to a doctor and they're like, "All right, I got to check your anus," and they pull out their smartphone.
Well, I think that maybe a possible use case for this would have been when it was during lockdown and you couldn't leave your house, or maybe you couldn't get into a doctor's office or hospital because of everything that was happening, and you needed to have like your colon checked out. You could record this thing yourself and then send the footage to your doctor and say, "Do you see anything I should be concerned about?" or something. No?
That's terrible.
But
doctor,
okay.
There's something wrong with my anus. Okay, do you have
anything you can shove up there?
Whatever the fuck it's called, camera for your smartphone.
The inner selfie stick.
Do you have the inner selfie stick by chance? Or you know what? Here's what we'll do. We're gonna mail you an inner selfie stick. What do you have? iPhone or Android? That's the first question they ask.
Yeah. What size is your anus?
There's something wrong with my butt.
Yeah, but
like,
whoa, watch your mouth.
Okay, well, do you have Android or
iOS
or iPhone? And they're like, why?
I'm on RIM.
It's very important.
Appropriately for this,
I have a BlackBerry.
I'm on RIM. Yeah,
I don't know what RIM is.
BlackBerry. The BlackBerry OS was called RIM, or like the company. Yeah, RIM.
There you go. That's very fitting that I went with BlackBerry at that point.
I was trying to get there, and I thought you said BlackBerry because I said RIM.
No, I had no clue
about. No. Yeah.
So they can mail you one, and then you can do it yourself, and then you send the footage back to them, and then you send the inner selfie stick back to them in a bag that they send you, so it's nice and sealed, so it can come back, and then they can sanitize it and get it ready for the next patient. No, thank you.
I would hope they would dispose of those afterward, but they'd probably be expensive.
I mean, they're probably expensive, so they'll have to, like most of the tools of the trade, they'll go through a whole sanitation process and be ready for use. I mean, when you go to the doctor's office and they pull out a utensil out of that little sealed bag, it's been used on somebody else before. It's just been cleaned and resealed. So there you go. Inner selfie stick. You might not be the first person that's used it.
But you might be the first person
that's their tagline.
You might. It's so popular. You're probably not the first person that's used one. I know it's not exactly what you're getting at, but that could be a way to spin it to make it a little more appealing. All right. You know what I think I hate about my jeans? My current jeans.
Your physical makeup or like pants?
My denim pants.
Okay.
They
because I have a list for the other.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They just don't vibrate.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I could sort of give do a little workaround DIY version of it by putting my phone in my pocket and just having someone text me a lot or something. But so these were invented for to solve that very problem. They're just vibrating genes. If you could not get enough notifications, or if you could not get enough of notifications and love the feeling of your pocket vibrating every time your phone gets an alert, then good news. These genes and gene shorts are designed to vibrate when your phone does for leg-based thrills.
Right, leg-based.
Or around the leg area.
People are out there buying the extra tight vibrating jeans.
Well, this makes me think of the Harry Potter that broom
Please
or whatever
continue.
that was ended up being quote unquote sold by adult stores. And stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, they might as well just make a front pocket on those jeans right in the center front.
So, but does this mean that it's somehow like Bluetoothed to your phone? Because it says they're designed to vibrate when your phone does. So it's like
that, or if they sense vibration, they also vibrate.
Well, because otherwise, the whole pitch in this little blurb here was that, like, oh, if you love getting notifications on your phone because of the way it feels when your phone's in your pocket, this will allow you to experience that more. It's still only is activated when your phone gets a notification.
Yeah.
So if you just have your phone in your pocket, it does the exact same thing that these
but just
genes
not all over.
Is that what it is?
These genes do it all over.
Only the leg parts.
Supposedly.
Which would guess, I mean, the shorts would pretty much do nothing because
shorts have legs,
but they're short.
Yeah, but you'd still get the upper thigh.
You would get
enjoyment.
You would get much less of a sensation if these genes vibrated throughout. All the material vibrates. You're getting way more of a sensation while wearing the jeans, just because of the fact that they cover more of your legs. The shorts in this picture are quite short, so it's really
like
just kind of
well above knee.
Oh, well above knee. Yeah,
that's risque.
Like just below where you would insert the inner selfie stick.
Oh, they're that short, huh? They're like Daisy Duke short.
Yeah, maybe not quite Daisy Duke short, but really short.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I gave up years ago on eating ice cream from an ice cream cone because I just got.
Is this a segue?
Yes, exactly. Please just let it play out so that you don't have to ask. I just got so tired of like, okay, I'm eating this part of the ice cream. Now I need to turn the ice cream cone to get to another part of the ice cream. And then I have to just turn it again. I wish there was some kind of device that would rotate my ice cream cone for me.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds perfect. If only something like that existed.
Well, great news, Matt. Great news, OBT Matt Kenobi. What?
There was no Matt after the T on that one. It's either OB Matt or OBT Kenobi.
Oh.
Continue. I forgot what each of them stood for at this point, to be honest.
Yeah. There's the ice cream cone rotator. Licking ice cream is a real hassle, isn't it?
Of course.
Not anymore, thanks to the rotating cone that will move the ice cream so you can leave your tongue in one place, saving valuable calories. Because what you want to do
is that what it says?
Yeah. Yeah. Now,
what the fuck? I was going to say, like, the only part about eating an ice cream that's slightly exercise is rotating the cone. Like, you're already...
Now, these blurbs, these little captions are not the advertising copy.
Right.
These were like, humorously typed up by whoever compiled this list. But yeah, it's like the one thing you don't want to do when consuming ice cream, which is entering a lot of unneeded calories into your system, is to save calories.
Right. It's like the whole time as you're describing this thing, that's all I could think about is just like, how much fatter do you need to get? Like, you're already eating the ice cream, but now you're having it rotate for you. So literally all you have to do is rest your head on a surface and stick your tongue out.
Yeah.
And you're eating ice cream now.
But I would think that your tongue would get numb pretty quickly if you're doing that, and it would not be comfortable.
I mean, if you are the kind of person who buys something that self-rotates, you don't care if your tongue can feel.
Yeah, that's true. And one thing also about this is I can't tell. At first, I thought it was where you you would just put an actual ice cream cone with ice cream in it inside this thing, and it would spin it for you. But then I'm like, you still have to like slowly remove the cone from it to keep eating it. But this might just be the plastic device, and you put the ice cream directly into that. But it only helps with that top
anything inside of it.
scoop. Yeah, that top scoop of ice cream. So maybe this only can house that top scoop of ice cream. So maybe this is a
It probably
good thing.
comes with a fucking straw, and then they can just suck it out.
But I guess maybe you are saving yourself the calories of the cone itself that you would normally eat when you're eating an ice cream cone. So maybe this is a healthy alternative to an ice cream cone.
No, the healthy alternative to an ice cream cone is a carrot.
You love carrots.
Carrots are great.
The thing about is anyone who wants to save valuable calories is someone who doesn't seem to have access to a lot of food, right? I think someone who is in that position is not going to have ice cream at their disposal. Not likely, anyway.
Yeah, because they already probably live in a cold environment where food is more sparse already.
Right.
That or a really hot environment where ice cream would be great to have. But
great.
Just those two scenarios.
But hard to come by, in those environments.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, if you're the type of person who's trying to, like, not waste calories or whatever the fuck, right? Yeah, the last thing you want to eat is ice cream because it's not gonna do anything good for your body. Like, you want to eat stuff that's gonna be good for you to maintain, like that. Or if you're like a person who's like trying to build mass, so you need to eat a bunch of stuff to, like, I don't know.
It's egg ice cream.
It's stupid. It's the stupidest thing.
It's egg ice cream. I don't know if
doesn't ice cream have eggs in it? I
don't even know. I don't know. I never made ice cream, so I don't know if it has eggs in it. I don't think it does. I think we used to.
It can.
Well, I think we used to have one of those. Maybe that was a snow cone maker.
Well, that does not have eggs in it.
No, but like the peanuts, Snoopy.
That's just ice.
Snow cone maker. Yeah, it's just ice and then some flavoring. But speaking of flavoring, these forks are going to take you're not going to look at a fork the same way again. You're going to look at your bland.
Before we move on, ice cream does have eggs in it.
Oh, it does.
Yes. Commercially manufactured ice cream is typically made with pasteurized eggs or egg products. Recipes for homemade ice cream often use raw eggs in the base mixture.
So you do get some protein from eating ice cream.
You get some protein.
Well, I stand corrected. Anyway, once you hear about these forks, you're going to look at your bland old tasteless forks and you're going to I'm going to throw these out and get myself some taste enhancing forks.
OMG.
Yeah. So what these are, these are taste enhancing forks which use scent to add a bit more to the sensation of eating. So it's a fork with a hole cut out. So you got your prongs, and then that flat surface below the prongs, there's a hole which will rest a small disc. A disc which can be flavored by taking any little vial of flavoring and adding a dropper and dropping little drops of this flavoring to the disc that's inserted into the hole into the fork. So when you take a bite of food with your fork, your mouth or your tongue and your lips run across this flavored disc after the food is pulled off the fork, and you just get that added bit of flavor sensation to the food you're eating.
How about making food that has flavor? Like, this only makes sense if you're eating like something that doesn't have a taste.
Look.
And that you can't add a taste to naturally.
Yeah, but what if it's like an afterthought? You're like, you know what? I forgot to add that ginger, and now I can just
fucking add the ginger.
But I forgot, and it's too late, and the family's here, and it's time for lunch, and there's no time. We have to make
then just disappoint your family.
Well, that was the old way. That was the old solution, the old situation you found yourself in.
So now you're making your people that you're eating, remember to put in your flavor disc and add your little bit of flavor before you eat the meal that I made incorrectly.
If you're the one preparing the food, you're going to be the one that takes on the task.
You're preparing all the flavor discs?
Of course. You're not going to put that on them. They didn't ask for this. The only way
that this is an acceptable invention whatsoever is in some sort of dystopian future when all we have is like this flavorless paste that we eat because it's the only thing we can manufacture because like we've killed off every other food source imaginable, but we have this paste that we can eat that gives us all the nutrients we need to survive, but it doesn't have flavor. So now you can the only other thing that survived was all these forks and flavor discs and flavor additives for the discs. So you can, I'm eating mashed potatoes and gravy today. Thanks, paste. Oh, turkey dinner. Tacos. Like,
but why can't you add this flavoring to the paste?
That was my fucking thing originally. That's what I was saying with just make the food with the flavor. Don't add the flavor to your fork. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
This is not to add flavor to otherwise flavorless food. This is like, you know what? Enjoy the food you're eating, but here's a little bonus.
Yeah. Do you hate this meal? Add a different flavor to it.
It adds a bonus to an otherwise, it's like stuffed crust pizza, which we're going to bring up again, which I know you hate. But like the crust used to just be crust. Oh man, that boring little crust. Nah, you get a bonus now. The cheese.
No, I love crust. Cheese in a crust is not a bonus to me.
Well, then you're not going to like taste enhancing forks either. You're just one of those people.
Here's the thing. That goes against everything you're saying because that stuffed crust is part of the meal. It's not being a flavor additive on your fork later.
I'm on the spot here. I'm trying to come up with some sort of relatable example that we all.
There is no relatable example because this is world of its own.
I'm doing the best I can here. I got to stick up my ass that you made me replace. I wanted to have the inner
I didn't make you replace
stick.
it. I made you put the same one back.
Replace. It was placed. Yeah. I deplaced it. You made me replace it. Not in the sense that I put a new one in.
You didn't replace the stick with a different stick.
I just placed it again. It's an inner selfie stick. I'm constantly monitoring my innards. And I wanted a little break from it for the show, but you're like, no. I like you better when you're monitoring your innards while recording. Because you don't have an attention problem like I do. All right. We got some Beauty and the Geek keyboard jeans. Another modification to jeans. Dutch design student Eric D. Nijs, Nijs, must hate carrying his keyboard around. So rather than use a laptop, he's integrated a keyboard into his jeans. But not only that, these have a speaker and a mouse too. These will set you back 250 pounds for that particular look. Basically,
the trouble you have when you have to carry your keyboard around everywhere.
Well,
so this is what's stupid, right?
You're also carrying
just a keyboard
computer around.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. It's just a keyboard. So he's plugging a different keyboard into every computer he goes to.
I guess so.
Because if he doesn't have a monitor to go with it,
if that's the problem that these jeans are supposedly solving, he's
right.
Yeah, he was just transporting his keyboard around, and wherever he found himself next to another computer, he could plug it in. That's what
I think what the real problem was is that he kept getting caught touching himself a lot, and so he made these pants so he could get away with continuing to touch himself, and then he'd be like, "No, I'm just typing."
No, really, the key layout is right across the upper thighs and the crotch.
Yeah, I figured
it's right where the buttons are.
Would make sense. That would be the only place.
That's where
you can't have it down by the knees or on the shins.
Right. That's not ergonomically beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this dude just likes to jerk it
by like.
No, so he put the keyboard
imitating a typing motion onto it.
No, like I said earlier, this guy got caught touching himself a lot in his computer class.
Yeah.
So he invented these pants so that he can continue to touch himself, but then when he got caught, he could say, "No, look, I'm just typing."
I guess, but the keys are on the outside of the jeans. So if you no matter what, if you like,
you can touch yourself from the outside of your pants, John.
Yeah, but you mentioned like jerking off, and it's like you can't do that. I mean,
you can still.
Can you kind of do that from the outside of your jeans?
Oh yeah.
I mean, maybe some people
need me to demonstrate.
I don't know. I gotta cover a lot of ground when I'm doing that. So inside the jeans, it's not easy that's not something I don't think I could do.
You have to cover a lot of ground, as in constantly be on the move.
Yeah. I hate
Stationary masturbation.
I can't finish where I started. You know. So I have to make sure I'm in a different location than where I was when I began. That's just, I call it a quirk, you know.
Hey, I'm not.
That's just me.
We're kink friendly here.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I said call it a quirk.
Whatever
though.
rows your boat.
This is that helps, you know, sometimes. But anyway, this one I don't really understand. The way it looks is this sort of like a white thing you put in your mouth with these two like sort of plastic rods sticking out the sides.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the POW Fit, and it says this device might look like an ancient torture device, but it's actually designed to work on your face fitness. Are you familiar with Cristiano Ronaldo?
Yes. It's
okay,
a soccer player or a football player. Sorry.
This muscle toning device has even been endorsed by Cristiano Ronaldo for his many Japanese fans. It says.
Well, yeah, Japan paid him to fucking do a commercial. That's the thing. A lot of these people will do commercials in Japan and have absolutely no fucking clue what they're doing, but they're getting paid to do a commercial in Japan, so they just go and do it.
Okay, what is this? See, we're now beyond the point where I had pre-perused, so I'm discovering this stuff is at the same time. Okay. This is a cutting board bird feeder. Don't waste crumbs. Feed them directly to the birds. This cutting board vents off the crumbs so you don't have to clear them away. The birds will do that for you. Good luck pumping that outside, though. It's a cutting board which has to be suspended over nothing because you can't just throw it on top of a countertop because right in the center of it, there are a bunch of holes cut into it. Underneath the cutting board, directly underneath the holes, is like a funnel that leads to a plastic curved tube that then has a sort of little plastic bucket on the end with a little perch. So a bird could come, land on the little perch on the bucket, and just eat crumbs out of the bucket that's what it is.
What are people cutting on this cutting board?
The image is a loaf of bread.
Okay, because like there's so many things that you cut on cutting boards, like, you know,
Peppers,
vegetables and onions, and things that birds aren't gonna eat, like steak.
Well, you don't have steak crumbs that you're trying to.
I mean, little pieces of steak fall off.
Well, there's fatty pieces you set aside. You could, I guess, the thing that would most likely go through those would be like any of the juices from the steak.
You know how birds love steak juice.
I mean, I've never tried to feed steak juice to a bird. I bet it would actually be a big hit.
Probably not. They're not.
When's the last time you've been
cannibals.
to a steak? When's the last time you've been to a steakhouse? You cannot get rid of the swarms of birds all flying around trying to get a taste of some of that steak juice.
Last time I went to a steakhouse was within the last probably 7 or 8 months.
Yeah, and you had to fight through the swarms of birds.
There was not a bird anywhere around.
Oh, really? They must have been there earlier and all been full.
Oh, yeah.
Like
that's what they say. The early bird gets the juice.
Well,
as they say.
Yeah. You want to go before or after the bird rush. You want to beat the bird rush, they say, right?
I don't think that's what they say. I think they don't say that.
You think? You don't know.
I've never heard anybody say that until just now, and you're unreliable.
I actually kind of like this one. It's for hamsters. It's for a little hamster cage.
Okay.
And it's a paper shredder that sits on top of the hamster cage. And so you shred a piece of paper, it just lines the bottom of the hamster cage.
It wouldn't line the bottom. It would go over the top of everything, including the hamster.
Well, if the hamster's in the wheel, which is what's depicted here in this image, it will work. But what this
it would get caught up in the wheel.
Well, what this
hamster gets tangled in the wheel and
the wheel is just to the left of where the paper stops coming out. So the paper's not getting showered, or the wheel's not getting showered with paper shredding.
Yeah.
Clippings,
and I
whatever.
can't imagine that the noise of a paper shredder isn't, traumatic for a hamster.
Well, like you said, just like the bike seat situation, hamster gets used to it.
I mean, how often are you shredding paper into this thing that it would get used to it?
No, you're right. And the the cage is fairly small, so you don't need to shred a lot of paper to line it. And yeah, so
also, I can't imagine like paper with ink on it is good for a hamster to like, because the hamster's going to chew on it.
But wouldn't people just like shred newspaper in the past and line that kind of stuff with that? Or no?
Maybe back in the day, but now that's like you go and you buy actual like bedding for small animals, and like if you do newspaper, usually there's usually an under tray for anything like droppings and stuff that fall through. So usually that's lined with like newspaper.
I can't tell if this has that
actual bedding on top. But I can't imagine putting like shredding like, oh, these bill documents that I need to get rid of with actual printed ink and like signatures on it. Let's shred that in there so that the hamster can chew on this ink. That can't be. I could be completely wrong, but I only imagine.
Look, this isn't a list of sensible inventions, right? This is a list of crazy inventions.
This is true. I am actually getting way too worked up over this.
Yes, you are. I mean,
who would do this to a hamster? How dare they?
I mean, most of these probably never got past like the prototyping stage. You know, it's like someone makes a prototype of their invention idea and then tries to sell it to places, and it probably doesn't get beyond that.
Yeah.
Except for the Cristiano, whatever dude, Ronaldo.
Well, yeah.
For the muscle fitnesser.
That's why we need to go to Japan, dude. And do like reviews of weird inventions out there, because Japan will put anything on the market.
I heard that you can pretty much buy anything out of a vending machine there.
Oh yeah, you can buy
so many vending machines all over the place that just carry so many weird things.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see.
No need to go to a casino, because all you can just be like, just go buy a bunch. No, I should say no need to go to like a Dave and Buster's, because you can just go and buy a bunch of weird
I'm like
tchotchke things out of vending machines.
I'm like, you're not going to go to a vending machine and like win the jackpot.
No, yeah. You can. I mean, you can.
I'm not sure. So I have to see what this is. It just says Sonic Grenade. I'm guessing it's a grenade that just releases a loud sound instead. This product was $15 on Firebox before being discontinued. We can imagine why. It's a noise grenade that could be the most annoying thing in the world. Okay, so it's a grenade that just makes a loud noise.
Okay.
I don't know why they had to fashion it to be like a grenade where you pull a pin and throw it, and then it will eventually
just like squeal or something.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what the sound is, but I mean,
yeah, that's pretty dumb.
Yeah, I mean, they have other. This one's okay. I saw this before. This is worse than the flavor enhancing forks, in my opinion.
Nothing is worse than
that. Well, it's a finger fork.
Okay.
So it's a tube. It's like a squared metal tube that you put your finger in, and then at the end of that is another metal sheet with 4 prongs at the end, and it's just a fork that you operate with your finger. Yeah.
That's the most awkward way to eat anything.
I know, it's stupid.
Like if you wore it upside down and kind of like scooped up.
Right.
But not, I mean, even that's weird.
But this is not a finger spoon, Matt. This is a finger fork.
Well, no, I'm saying like shoveled it, like if you did like the motion like this as opposed to like this.
This. Right. So it says, don't act like gripping a fork isn't hard work. We all know it is. And that's why the finger fork was born, of real need.
Look, I am really good at gripping, so a fork has never been an issue for me. I'm a grip master. I'm a master gripper. If you catch my drift.
And MG Matt Kenobi.
That's the one.
Yeah.
There's like the fork is. This will sound weird when I say it like this, but the fork is kind of already perfect. I mean, the fork is already perfection.
I've got my own issues with the fork. So,
but it's like that. This is the exact example of fixing something that isn't a problem.
No, yeah, you're instead of an invention solving a problem, this is an invention that's trying to create a problem that doesn't exist that it then solves.
It's like nobody has ever gone like, oh man, I keep dropping my forks.
Well, this says buy this $1.50 metallic stabber on your digit and eat away without all that grippy holding hassle.
So stupid.
But the thing is, why maybe they have made these to replace all other types of utensils. But it's like, if it's just the fork, then you're still having to go through all that gripping hassle with a spoon and a knife.
Like, the only way I would... So, here's the thing. This is the problem I'm going to have. So, they're $1.50... Well, they're £1.50 a piece.
Yeah.
So, whatever that equates to. So, either way, I'd have to buy 10 of them and put one on every digit. And then, like, that's the one way that's the one way I would want to use them to eat. So I just, like, rip all my food and just,
That's not practical at all.
It's not practical. It's not practical to begin with.
Right, but you wearing one on every digit is
just for
less practical.
I would
what if you need to use
for the fun of it.
Right, but what if you need to use a napkin? Then you're removing a minimum of 5 of these things to be able to use a napkin.
No, I would attach a napkin to the fucking spinny ice cream thing. So all I have to do is put my face on it and then wipe my face off. I'm good to go.
Well, that might be a very practical repurposing of the ice cream cone rotator.
Yeah. I mean, that I would get more use out of it that way than to eat ice cream. Because you still have to put the ice cream on the thing. Like, it makes more sense if it was a cone that you loaded onto it. You'd be like, oh, I'm going to get this cone out of the freezer, put it in the thing, start eating it. Instead, it's like, oh, let me grab this pint of ice cream, scoop the ice cream off into the stupid vessel, and then fucking start eating it.
Well, yeah. So, is
not
there
to
a huge
backtrack, but yeah.
Yeah, you did. You backtracked big time, and you luckily remembered to switch which sandal the metal detector sandal thing was plugged into. Wow, that was way too much to get to that. What is this? There's 2 smartphone attachments coming up. One is a scent diffuser. So yeah, if you're just in an area where you're like, you know what, I need to add some scent to the air around me, and there's no outlet to be found, so I can luckily just plug this thing into my phone, and that
would only be beneficial if you're taking a real smelly shit and you don't have any, like, in a public place and you don't have any air freshener.
Yeah, true. We'll get to a slightly related invention later on to that idea. But the next one, it's an iPhone fan.
I've seen these little fan attachments.
I mean, to be honest, it's not very different from just having one of those little tiny handheld battery-powered fans that you would hold up to your face in a pinch. This is just something that's powered by your phone.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it where they use it to, like, get those wind-blown photos, so you can take a picture of yourself with the wind blowing in your hair.
Okay. But yeah, I could see that.
Like, that's not the... It's not the dumbest thing, but it's also dumb.
It's dumb
because if you're like somewhere where you need the fan on you, then you're like, oh, now I got to hold my phone out, and now I'm using my phone's battery to keep me cool.
Yeah, but if you combine it with one of those camera lens attachments that has like a ring light on it for your phone, you can light yourself really well, get a better photo, and have the wind blowing.
Yeah,
I mean,
if you do it with the scent diffuser, then you can just blow perfume into your eyes
and get a weird look on your face and capture the moment.
Yeah.
This one so far appears to be the first one that's really from a few decades ago. This is from the 70s. It just says a weird workstation. To me, it just looks like a strange chair that's designed to have a typewriter resting above your legs in front of you, and they do have some sort of like headphone cups built into the side of the headrest.
Okay.
So let me just read what this says, because I'm not exactly sure what this exactly is targeting here. Back in the 70s, designers were coming up with weird and wonderful seating arrangements for workers. This included insane things like this figure-hugging chair, which had a built-in typewriter and even some earphones with extendable aerials. A vision of tech luxury for the time, but certainly an easy contender for our list. It just looks like a clunky, weird chair that's specifically designed to type at. I guess to avoid having a separate desk. I don't know. It was just sort of that out of that like inventive time, where it's like,
yeah, it's like it seemed like in like that 70s era, they were like trying to come up with all these futuristic
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
to like, it's like, it's weird when you like look back at that stuff now and how like, especially
How
like even
dated
when you
it
look at
looks.
like, well, yeah, and you like to bring up Logan's Run again, to think about a movie that was filmed in the 70s and what they thought the future would look like kind of thing. It's just
Yeah.
that weird like look of like, oh, in the year 1999, it's going to be so crazy. Here's all these flying cars and futuristic weird shit. And it's just like, no, that's not far enough in the future for this
one thing
weird
that's
shit.
Yeah, one thing that is really funny about something like that is the ideas themselves might be a bit futuristic, but the way they're made still looks like of the time.
It's still it's the 70s version of the future, but it's still 70s. So
exactly.
It's like,
it looks
all these crazy colors still, and like,
yeah. Oh, great! Another accessory to use your phone with. It's a phone holder cup. It's just a plastic drinking cup with a screw-on lid that we've all seen.
Yeah.
But instead of just a straw coming out of the lid, we've also got this little attachment that holds your phone, so you can just drink out of your cup and simultaneously look at your phone.
Man, thank God they invented pockets recently, so that you didn't have to use all these crazy contraptions to hold your phone all the time.
Well, now, Matt, the placement of your phone on the top of your cup is not because of a lack of pockets. Like, I don't have a place to store my phone, and where I won't look at it. This is like, hey, with just one hand and my free hand can be typing on my keyboard jeans, I can be drinking my tasty beverage and looking at my cell phone at the same time. Before,
yeah, because there's nothing like holding your phone 1 inch away from your fucking eyes.
Right. Well, just think about it though. Before, if I wanted to drink out of my drinking cup straw and look at my phone, I did not have a free hand to type on my keyboard jeans, and now I do.
Yeah. God forbid you take a second out of your day to not be typing.
It'd be so cool if you had those keyboard jeans and like you were dating like a stenographer, and it'd be like you practice for that big promotion you're going for, honey. You just work on your strokes. Work on those
help you
keystrokes.
Study.
Yeah, let me help you study into the wee hours of the morning.
Oh, let me give you a massage on those legs.
And
then bring it back to the very first invention.
Yeah, while playing Tekken.
Yeah. Did that come out on the PS1?
I think so, probably.
Was it a PS1? Was it PS1 or PS2?
I think Tekken is PS1.
No,
era.
the invention.
PS1.
Oh God, yeah, that's even wow. Okay.
I mean, to me, honestly, you had some wacky stuff with like Nintendo. Remember, like the game.
Yeah.
So there was some weird accessories to the original Nintendo. So it's not crazy.
The Power Glove and
So the idea of having some kind of weird massage vest for the PS1 is not completely out there.
I wonder how many of those they sold.
Oh, I bet you just like friends of employees were issued some. But oh man, you know what I'm tired of?
It probably didn't get past product testing.
Probably not. You know what I'm tired of, Matt?
No,
I'm sure you are too. Back to us talking about various ways to prepare eggs. I'm just so tired of like these naturally hard-boiled eggs that maintain the shape of the original eggshell.
Oh yeah, I like them to be more like a square.
Right. So you too. Thank God I'm not the only one, because this invention, the egg cuber, solves that very dilemma.
Right.
Yeah. Because round eggs are far too natural and boring, clearly. If you like things that break the norm, then this device is perfect, as it turns normal-shaped eggs into square ones.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
It's almost as if I'd heard about that product before.
It sounds like you had.
But what? So the only way that would work then is you have to crack the egg open into it first, right?
Yes, but
because you can't manipulate the shape of the shell once it's.
Well, I'm guessing the way this. So what it looks like is it shows a cubed egg.
Yeah.
That's got a piece of it has been sliced off. Like you could tell it's a hard-boiled egg. So I guess maybe they're saying you hard-boil an egg, remove all the shell, and then just like shove this on top of it so it cuts off the excess parts and make it a cube
Oh, that's
shape,
even stupider.
I guess, because I mean, you can't. It's not like you can put, even if you like cracked an egg open and poured it into the square portion of this device and then tried to hard boil it that way. I don't think it would end up looking like a where you got the egg white on the outside and the yolk part in the middle, right?
It might.
The
The yolk might go back into the middle of the.
It might, but it just, the way this is shown, it makes me think that they hard boiled an egg, removed the shell, and then just press this thing on top of it to sort of almost like a cookie cutter to make a cube shape out of the whole egg. And like there's excess side pieces of egg that you then throw away, or maybe you sweep down the holes of the bird feeding.
Yeah, because there's nothing birds love more than eating eggs.
Right. I know. Yeah.
That's why there's so few birds.
That would be a bit cruel. Not if you go to a steakhouse. Totally different story when you're visiting a steakhouse. You must have been distracted by something. These I have to read up on this to see what exactly the purpose is, but they're called air sticks. They just look like these weird things you put around the stem of like your AirPods, and they're just these long sticks. So here's what it says. These gadgets are an unnecessary invention by Matt Benedetto. If you're always losing your Apple AirPods while also being a fiend for Oriental food, then AirSticks might be the perfect solution for you. The perfect accessory for your Apple AirPods. Enjoy your favorite sushi on the go and never leave your chopsticks behind. I don't know if that was what they were for, but it does kind of look like just chopsticks that you shove your AirPods into the end of. I don't know what these are for.
Isn't the point like, isn't the bottom of the stem of a AirPod like it's got a little hole in it? Right? It's for like the air to come in and out.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't have a hole in the bottom?
No.
Oh, I thought it did. I thought it was like the little breather for the speaker.
Oh, I mean, they have
those must be on the sides.
Yeah, so you've got like that's where it's so then you got this is
that's the breather.
Well, that's to detect when it's in your ear, but you also got these back here. That's for breather. That's
okay. I thought the breather was at the base of the stem. Because I was saying, like shoving it into the thing then would defeat the purpose of having that breather. But
that's not going to focus it anyway.
No, it's fine. I get it.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just where the microphone is. But yeah, I don't know.
The microphone's at the base of the stem.
I would think that would make sense, right? Because it's the closest thing to your mouth. But I don't know. To be honest, I don't know if that's what that's for. I mean, I know there's other functionality like
a diagram.
Yeah, because I know the stem is to like pinch it to go to next song and previous song and stuff like that.
Oh well, yeah. So if your stem is inside of a chopstick, you're gonna have trouble.
You can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that part.
And if that's where the speaker is or the microphone is, then too, it's not going to hear you if you ask it to skip to the next song or something too, or try to even talk to somebody. They're just going to hear muffled chopstick noises.
Yeah, muffled chopstick noises.
Either way,
you couldn't use them as chopsticks while the AirPods are in your ear.
Yeah, no. But also, when you're not eating anything, now you just have these chopsticks hanging from your head.
Yeah. I like
unless it's like, no, well, then you detach them. It's like, well, then what's the point of the invention at all?
I know. I like the version that's better that was designed for billiards enthusiasts, and it's literally a pool cue that you shove the end of your AirPod in so that...
Is this something you're just making up as a joke, or is this something you've actually seen as a joke?
No, I just made it up just now.
Okay, because it's great. Because it's no worse. It's funnier to me.
It's the next like ridiculous evolution of this.
Trouble losing your earpods all the time, but love playing pool.
Yeah, losing your AirPods at the pool hall constantly.
Here's one, and you get one that's the regular size pool cue, and then the ones that's the stubbier pool cue for when you're in tight spaces.
Yeah,
so they're not even evenly matched, but it makes it easier to remember which one you put in which ear. So it's helpful.
True. You could also have one that is for the bridge.
Oh yeah, there you go.
You know, so many more uses for this.
You need a third ear pod.
You need a third ear, or you need a friend with one ear.
Well, you can get an ear installed, a third ear installed, like Captain T. Kirk.
I'm sure that happened. I'm guessing. that
No,
happened.
well, he had his left ear, his right ear, and his final frontier.
All right. Well,
See you next
I will
Tuesday.
see- Yeah. Yep. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
If you have a question, complaint, or threat for Sean or Matt, you can reach us on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at hsfamouspod, or you can email the show at highschoolfamous@gmail.com. No animals were pleasured during the making of this podcast, despite our best efforts. All hail our Lord and Savior.
My gag reflex